So I've never been a very flexible person. Always had really bad posture until I started taking Cerule. So I'm about 2.5 months in now, and I've noticed that my posture and mobility has greatly improved. So I want to do some mobility challenges as I move forward. So I'm going to take some baseline now pictures and see where we're at, and then we can see some progress, 6 or a year down the line. So let's go. Four months check-in of my mobility progress after starting to take Cerule. So yeah, it's about a day 128 or 29, and my mobility has definitely improved. My body feels way better than it ever has. So I just want to do that second check-in because in the future here, starting probably today or tomorrow, I want to start adding doing mobility every single day. So picking a muscle group for 1 month or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something, and then just really focusing on that muscle group and then seeing how it changes, because I feel like my body responds so much better to mobility work now. So let's see where my progress is at. I know there's going to be a couple things that maybe aren't as good as I want them to be, but yeah, I'll talk about that later. So let's see where I'm at. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the before and after. The before being at the end of July there, and then the after being today. So as you can see in this overhead squat position, that it is significantly better. The shoulder angle is much more upright, and my hips are just a little bit lower, so I'm quite happy about that. And then we move on. The next, this relaxed squat position. I feel like knowing how it felt to be in there, it feels way more comfortable to be in now than what it was before. As you can see, I'm kind of reaching forward, trying to maintain that forward balance, whereas now I feel like I'm sitting a little bit more on my heels. So, and then the forward fold, it seems like it's not that much better, and I kind of expected that. My back has been a little bit tight because I think it is just rebalancing a few things, and we did a big hiking trip this summer. So, but I think I have an extra kind of knuckle in distance, and you can see that it is kind of that hip flexion angle is just a little bit better, and there's a little bit more roundness kind of here. So, and then same thing here, it's a little bit more prominent. You can see the hip or the back angle, it's kind of straight up vertical here, whereas on the after, it's got a little bit of that forward tilt, and then I have a little bit more of that, an extra knuckle over top. And then in these rotation photos, you can see that the after, there's a little bit more rotation to the left there. There's just more gap between the forearm and my watch or my wrist. And this shoulder is just a little bit lower. And then this is the big one that I'm really, really happy with in this rotation to the right, which is where I usually struggle. And that's just where I seem to be the most restricted. So obviously that angle isn't super great. And now it's pretty close to straight up, which I'm really, really happy about. And then if we go to the other side, same thing. This shoulder's dumped a bit more. I'm reaching just a little bit farther. It's kind of hard to see in this, and then same thing. This is fairly close to straight up, but this difference isn't as much because I have less struggle going to my left. There's less damage and issue going that way. And then child's pose, I think I am a little bit deeper now. So it's hard to tell because my head is up. I should have taken a better screenshot in the before, but I think there is a little bit more hip flexion here, and then a little bit more shoulder flexion, reaching overhead as well. Then the cobra position, there is definitely a noticeable difference in how I feel, and you can see that there's a gap where the shorts are. So here, the groin area is not on the carpet, whereas here it definitely is. There's a little bit more hip flexion or hip extension there, and same with the lumbar back, a little bit more extension that way. If you look at my gaze, I'm actually kind of able to look in an upwards direction as opposed to kind of stuck straight ahead. Then a shoulder flexion test here. You can see it's slightly lower, so it's a little bit better, definitely improved. My low back isn't really extending off at either time, maybe slightly more in the before, but I think it's about the same. So definitely some improvements in shoulder mobility in the last couple months here. And then the groin stretch on the wall, I don't really see any differences. I'd have to get a protractor out and really make it, really get the measurements for it, which I don't really feel like I want to do. The one thing that I do notice is that this right foot is pointed out, so it's a bit more externally rotated, whereas now it's a bit more neutral. So maybe I'm gaining a little bit of internal rotation in that leg, but who knows? Anyway, the plan moving forward is to do 4 weeks of one muscle group and just kind of stretch, foam roll, and activate or just do exercises to help improve the range of motion and mobility in that specific area. And so I'm going to start with the groin because I think it's one of the reasons that is so limiting in that overhead squat position, that if I could get my knees out and my hips and femurs outside of my pelvis, I think I'd be able to squat a whole lot deeper, and then it would leave room for my shoulders. So that's where I'm going to start. And then after 4 weeks, we'll do another assessment, see where I'm at, and then move to another area and do another 4 weeks, and trying to do 20 to 30 minutes every day of something and filming a handful of it. And then afterwards, I'll do a little video kind of like this, just voiceover talking about why I'm choosing to do this or how I found it worked, and just see what goes on. So it's going to be a little bit improv, but yeah, hopefully I can make some good changes and I can start to feel better, and it helps other people do something similar or gives them ideas of how they can move better as well. So we'll see you in the next one.